Exposing the power of forgiveness in the face of injustice. Nelson Mandela's story is not just a chapter in history books. It is a living testament to the resilience of the human spirit. His journey from a small village in the Eastern Cape to the highest office in South Africa is a tale of unimaginable hardship, unwavering hope, and the transformative power of forgiveness. In a world often torn apart by hatred and division, Mandela's life reminds us that even in the darkest moments, the light of compassion can shine through. His legacy is not only about political change, but about the courage it takes to forgive those who have wronged us most deeply. Nelson Mandela lost nearly 3 decades to a prison cell, confined to the harsh, isolated conditions of Robben Island. Imagine waking up each day to the same cold stone walls, the same iron bars, the same relentless routine. For 27 years, Mandela's world was reduced to a tiny cell, barely wide enough to stretch his arms. He was denied the simplest freedoms. Letters from loved ones were censored, visits were rare and closely monitored, and every day was a battle against despair. Yet, even as the world outside moved on, Mandela's spirit remained unbroken. He used his time in prison not to nurture hatred, but to reflect, to learn, and to prepare for a future he could only dream of. But what he did next shocked the world. When the gates of Robben Island finally opened in 1990, millions watched as Mandela walked free, his head held high, his dignity intact. The world expected a man hardened by bitterness, someone who would seek vengeance for the years stolen from him. Instead, Mandela emerged with a message of peace and reconciliation. His release was not just the end of his personal suffering, it was the beginning of a new era for South Africa, a nation on the brink of civil war, desperate for healing and hope. Would you have the strength to forgive? They took everything from him, his freedom, his family, even his name. Mandela was separated from his wife and children, forced to watch from afar as his loved ones suffered under the same brutal system that imprisoned him. The pain of absence was a constant ache, a reminder of all he had lost. Yet, in the face of such profound injustice, Mandela refused to let anger consume him. He understood that holding on to hatred would only chain him further, and that true liberation required something far more difficult: forgiveness. For 27 years, Nelson Mandela stared at prison walls, breaking rocks under a merciless sun. His body weakened, but his hope unbreakable. The limestone quarry was a place of punishment, designed to break the spirits of political prisoners. The glare of the sun was so intense that it damaged Mandela's eyesight permanently. The work was backbreaking, the food meagre, and the guards unyielding. Yet Mandela found ways to resist. He organized secret study groups, teaching fellow inmates about law, politics, and history. He wrote letters that inspired a movement outside the prison walls. Every day he chose hope over despair, dignity over humiliation. When the world finally set him free, everyone expected anger, revenge, something raw and explosive after all that pain. The crowds that gathered outside the prison gates held their breath, waiting to see what Mandela would say, what he would do. Would he call for retribution? Would he demand justice through violence? The tension was palpable, the stakes higher than ever. South Africa stood at a crossroads, its future uncertain. But Mandela stunned us all. He looked at his jailers, men who tried to destroy him, and chose forgiveness. He shook their hands, smiled at them, and called them by name. This was not weakness, but a profound act of strength. Mandela understood that forgiveness was not about forgetting the past, but about refusing to be defined by it. He saw his former captors not as enemies, but as fellow South Africans, equally trapped by the system of apartheid. By forgiving them, he freed himself and his nation from the cycle of hatred and revenge. Not because he forgot the wounds, but because unity mattered more than revenge. As president, he reached across the deepest divides, turning enemies into partners and healing a fractured nation. Mandela invited his former adversaries to the negotiating table, insisting that the only way forward was together. He supported the creation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where victims and perpetrators could share their stories, confront their pain, and seek forgiveness. This process was not easy. There were tears, anger, and moments of despair. But through it all, Mandela's example inspired a nation to choose reconciliation over retaliation. Mandela proved that true power isn't found in punishment or hate. It's in the courage to forgive, to unite, and to turn suffering into hope. Under his leadership, South Africa held its first democratic elections, and people of all races stood side by side to cast their votes. The world watched in awe as a country once defined by division began to heal. Mandela's presidency was marked by humility, compassion, and a relentless commitment to justice. He championed education, healthcare, and economic opportunity for all, believing that the true measure of a nation was how it treated its most vulnerable citizens. If one man can do that after 27 years, what's stopping the rest of us? Mandela's legacy challenges each of us to look beyond our own pain, to find the strength to forgive, and to work for a better world. His life teaches us that forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but the ultimate act of courage. It is a choice we make every day to break the chains of the past and build a future rooted in hope, justice, and unity. As we remember Nelson Mandela, let us carry his spirit forward, choosing compassion over anger, understanding over judgment, and love over hate. Because if Mandela could forgive those who took everything from him, then surely we can find it within ourselves to forgive, to heal, and to change the world for the better.